Good morning, good morning, good morning. Merry stupid o'clock, everyone. It is stupid cold outside. I don't know why I exercise so early when it's so cold out, but I'm insane. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and like every morning at stupid o'clock, we're going to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, a few of the usual disclaimers. First off, you are going to find the link to this document right there in the description box alongside the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including where we get the bulk of our materials, Autisticoia's massive archive on the subject, the templates. Templates are the simplest thing in the world to use, folks. We designed them that way. All you have to do is type in your name, click on your senator. It takes less than 2 minutes, and you will assist us in helping to end seclusion, improper restraints, and aversive punishments in schools. Folks, this claims lives every single year, okay? So please take time. I know your days are busy, but this takes less than 2 minutes. It's going to be the most important thing you do today if you haven't done it already, all right? We also have the ever present, self explanatory change.org shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. Okay, we are going back to where we left off yesterday. Remember, this was the investigation that took place by New York State in regards to the JRC, not long after the conclusions of the Evelyn and Antoine Nicholson case versus the JRC and the Freeport School District. Okay, so without further ado, go ahead and get into it. All right, JRC findings. JRC employs a general use of Level 3 aversive behavioral interventions to students with a broad range of disabilities, many without a clear history of self-injurious behaviors. Not that it matters. You see, this is what pisses me off about some folks who are against this school. They have this idea, maybe the way they word things, it's like they would say it was justifiable if they were actually injuring themselves, which is the most illogical line of thinking I have ever heard. Where does this thinking come from that if someone is self-harming, that it is then a good idea to put them on a device that is going to harm them further? How does that teach you to not self-harm? Doesn't that rather teach you to misbehave on purpose so that they will do it for you? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. What's your commentary on it, Mr. Mew? He got quiet. I'm sure he'll meow again in a minute. Alright, but let's go ahead and get into it. JRC has a near zero rejection policy. They accept most students into the program regardless of the student's diagnoses and use the same general behavioral approach for all students, which we all know is stupid. That's not how medical care should work. That's not how any of this should work. You cannot use the same treatment methods on all disabilities because all disabilities are vastly different. This is just stupid. It is height of pseudoscience and quackery, and I can't believe they continue to get away with this. But moving on. The treatment model program offered to students is behavioral and does not offer any other forms of interventions for those students that exhibit psychiatric, developmental, and or duly diagnosed disorders. There were no indications that the JRC considers whether its behavioral model based primarily on the use of punishment techniques is appropriate for all types of disabilities, and no evidence that the JRC differentiates between the treatment of students with psychiatric disorders or the developmentally related childhood disorders. Thank you. Their whole model is based on a fallacy. All of it. All of it. There is no evidence that JRC considers the potential negative effects, such as depression or anxiety, that may result from the use of the aversive behavioral strategies with certain individual students. New York State, let me make it clear for you. They don't care. They may be well aware of what it causes, but these people do not care. Not to mention, nobody benefits from aversive treatment, okay? Get that ableist, awful, disgusting idea out of your heads. Aversives do not work. They do not work. And they cannot work. Not for mental health or for people with developmental disabilities. Get that idea out of your head. Several students from NYS came to JRC with the diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, yet their behavior programs call for skin shock. Skin shock has the potential to increase the symptoms associated with PTSD. Gee, you think? Yet there is no evidence of data measuring these possible side effects or therapies designed to treat these symptoms. You can't treat PTSD with abuse? What kind of fucked up logic is the JRC working with here? The GED and other aversive behavioral interventions are widely used on higher functioning students with emotional disabilities. JRC has a higher number of students with emotional disabilities receiving electric skin shock and other level 3 aversive interventions than students in disability categories such as intellectual disability or autism. I actually call bullshit, New York. They put everybody on that damn thing that they can, regardless of disability. One student wearing the GED who was interviewed displayed insight into his behaviors, a related replacement and coping behaviors he taught himself, writing in a journal, writing poetry. These abilities indicate the possibility that less aversive and intrusive interventions could be attempted systematically with this student. All right, people, come the hell on. Try all of them. Try all of them. Okay? God. Findings. JRC employs a general use of level 3 aversive behavioral interventions to students for behaviors that are not aggressive, health dangerous, or destructive, such as nagging, swearing, and failing to maintain a neat appearance. Many of the students observed that the JRC were not exhibiting self-abusive, mutilating behaviors, and their IEPs had no indication that these behaviors existed. However, they were still subject to level 3 aversive interventions, including use of the GED device. The review of the NYS student records revealed that level 3 interventions are used for behaviors including refuse to follow staff directions, failure to maintain a neat appearance, stopping work for more than 10 seconds, interrupting others, nagging, whispering and or moving conversation away from staff, slouch in chair, as well as the more intensive behaviors such as physical aggression toward others, property destruction, and attempts to hurt injure themselves. Saying, strap one of those things on me. But you know how the phrase goes, right? Fuck around and find out. One record reviewed indicated that the student had received 18 GED skin shots between 4:01:05 and 4:30:05, and the major destruction and aggression behaviors only added up to 10 instances in that time frame. The additional 8 skin shock applications were due to inappropriate verbalizations and interference with education. What the fuck do you think I'm gonna do if someone freaking electrocutes my skin? Sing them a song? God. One school district CSE chairperson expressed concern that JRC used level 3 interventions for behaviors the district did not consider problematic for a student they had placed at JRC, getting out of the seat, nagging. The chairperson stated that not all students identified behaviors for which the student received skin shock were significant to the extent that they interfered with the student's ability to learn. Oh my god, can we please get rid of the goddamn functioning levels? For fuck's sake. Sorry. A higher functioning teenage student was observed sneezing in class. She covered her face and called out for a tissue. The teacher indicated that calling out was a target behavior that would result in her action being pinpointed as inappropriate. So asking for a freaking tissue is going to get you freaking electrocuted. Fantastic. This example raises concerns with a targeted behavior category subject to level 3 aversive consequences by untrained or poorly supervised staff. It brings concerns that they're using it at all, New York. What the hell is wrong with you people that you think that this type of treatment is good to use on anyone? I don't give a damn what their problems are. We don't use these on pedophiles. Why is it okay to use on some disabled people who have done nothing wrong? God. One student's record indicated he would receive one GED for aggression, including verbal threats of aggression or aggressive posturing. And they're gonna fucking think aggressive posturing. Put that on me. Fuck around and find out. As well as actual aggression toward others, possession of weapons, destruction of property, or threats to destroy property, leaving a supervised area, running away, hurting self, or verbal threats to hurt self, swearing, yelling, screaming, or refusal to follow directions. So if you yell or scream because you're in pain for being shocked, you get shocked again. His plan indicates he would receive 5 GED exposures over a 10-minute period applied to his legs and waist in response to attempts to touch the GED transmitters in effect to apply the GED shock to another student. The same student reported the last GED shock he received was for an incident of swearing. Teenagers and young adults do. But it's inappropriate. I got your inappropriate. Massachusetts regulation authorized level 3 interventions only to address extraordinary, difficult, or dangerous behavioral problems that significantly interfere with appropriate behavior and or learning appropriate and useful skills that have seriously harmed or are likely to seriously harm the individual or others. While behaviors such as refuse to follow staff directions, failure to maintain a neat appearance, stopping work for more than 10 seconds, interrupting others, nagging, may have been found predictive of more serious behavior in the past instances. They are clearly not extraordinarily difficult or dangerous in their own right. Good God. Common behavioral practice is to use these behaviors that have been at the beginning of a chain leading to severe behaviors as a signal to institute preventative measures that would break the previously observed chain. Oh, for God's sake, just because I freaking say the word fuck does not mean I'm gonna put my fist to a wall. 71 NYS students were receiving level 3 adversives as of date of the review, and JRC was seeking court approval to use level 3 adversives with an additional 10 students. Of the IEPs of the NYS students that include statements regarding the use of the level 3 behavioral interventions, all read the same and were written without specifically regard to how such interventions are to be used with a student. 10 IEPs of NYS students included statements that the JRC will seek court authorization to use level 3 intervention to include movement limitation procedures and the graduated electronic decelerator to treat blanks major problematic behaviors to include aggression, destructive, health dangerous, problematic behavior. Major disruptive and non-compliant behaviors. We want you to be a traumatized robot. Yeah. JRC also employs alternative educational strategies, which include a progression of classroom and residential environmental moves. depending on blank's behavioral progress. 59 IEPs of NYS students include a general statement that JRC employs court-authorized Level 3 intervention to include movement limitation procedures and the graduated electronic decelerator to treat blank's major problematic behaviors, to include aggression, destructive, health dangerous, major disruptive, and non-compliant behaviors. JRC also employs alternative educational strategies to include a progression of blah, 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 blah. That's what it looks like. 8 students receiving Level 3 interventions had IEPs that indicated that JRC would be seeking court authorization to use Level 3 aversive behavioral interventions with no indication on the IEP that JRC had obtained the court authorization. Wow. Four students were receiving Level 3 aversive interventions with no indication on the IEPs that JRC would seek or had obtained court approval. God damn. So even the way that they used to get away with it, they're not even doing their due diligence there. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and close out on that this morning. I know this video is a little bit shorter than usual. Obviously, other than the obvious fact that these people are insane, what disturbs me about this report from New York State is this idea, and I've seen it across the board, that if these students actually matched up to what the JRC said they were shocking them for, if they were acting the worst of the worst, that it would then be okay. No. No, Karen. No. I don't care what the behaviors are. It is not okay to use these devices to torture anyone. Period. Bye-bye. See you later. If we are not using these on war criminals, on pedophiles, on rapists, on convicted felons of sexual aggression or physical aggression, if we're not using it on wife beaters, if we're not using it on husband beaters, then why in the name of God are we using it on individuals who have done nothing wrong except being born with a disability? Why is it okay for punishing them for being disabled or needing help? Why? Why is that okay? Why are disabled people, whatever their mental health issue or whatever their neurodevelopmental disorder happens to be, if we are not using it on violent criminals, why do we, as a society, continue to justify to use such treatment plans, procedures, and devices on people with disabilities? Period. Why? Why is that okay? Why do we as a society kind of bend over backwards to be apologists for it? That is a question that we all need to be asking ourselves. And then we need to confront ourselves and start changing the way we think about people with disabilities. Because this, using brutality and ruling through fear, does not help anyone. And on that, folks, I'm going to go ahead and close out this video for this morning. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, don't forget to hit that like button. Hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments this morning. I do appreciate your time. And as always, we here at Smelling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.